Now we can practice rounding without a calculator. Our first task is to round 152 to the nearest hundred. So our first task in this is to figure out which place value is the 100. The place value that's 100, this one's easy, it's the 1. So the next task, or the next step I should say, is to look at the digit to the right of the place being rounded. That's the 5. And the rule is, if the digit to the right, which is the 5 in this case, is 5 or more, you're going to add 1 to the rounded place, which is the hundreds column. So we're going to add 1 to the hundreds column. And then the next step is we need to change the digits to the right of the place being rounded. So in other words, that's the 5 and the 2, to zeros. So we replace the 5 and the 2 with zeros, and then we do the math. 100 plus 100 is 200. So in effect, this question is asking, is 152 closer to 100 or 200? And it's a little bit closer to 200. Let's try some more. This time we need to round 140 to the nearest hundred. So we need to know which place is the 100, which place value. That's the 1. So the rule is you look to the digit to the right, which is the 4. And if the digit to the right is 4 or less, the place being rounded stays the same. So because it's 4, we're not going to add anything to the hundreds place value. And then the next step is we change the digits to the right of the place being rounded, which is the 4 and the 0, to zeros. Then we do the math. 100 plus 0 is 100. So this question, in effect, is asking, is 140 closer to 100 or 200? And it's closer to 100. Next, we're going to round 17.6583 to the nearest hundredth. So we have to know which place is the hundredth, which place value. That's the 5. So we look at the digit to the right of the place being rounded, the 8. And the rule is, if that 8 is 5 or more, you're going to add 1 to the rounded place, which is the 5. Now if the 8 was a 4 or less, you would add nothing to the 5 column. And notice we have to keep the decimal in the same point or the same place, so we add 0.01. And then, as usual, the next step is to change the digits to the right of the place being rounded to zeros. Then we do our math, and the answer is 17.66. So in effect, this question is asking, is 17.6583 closer to 17.65 or 17.66? It's closer to 17.66. So our next task is to round 35.6667 to the nearest cent. So we have to know which place value is the cent. The cents, or the hundredths column, is the middle 6, the red 6. So then our next step is to look at the digit to the right of the place being rounded. So that's the green 6. And if the green 6 is 5 or greater, you add 1 to the place being rounded, which is the middle 6. So we're going to add 1 to the middle 6, and you have to keep the decimal in the same place. So we're in effect adding 0.01. And then the next step is always change the digits to the right of the place being rounded to zeros. So we're going to get rid of the green 6 and the black 7. Then we do the math. The answer is 35.67. So in effect, this question is asking, is 35.6667 closer to 35.66 or 35.67? The answer, of course, is 35.67. Next, we've got a task to round 25.3333 to the nearest cent. Again, we need to know which place value is a cent. That's the red 3, also called the hundredths column. You can also call it the cents column. Then we're going to look at the digit to the right of the place being rounded. So that's the green 3. And the rule is, if that green 3 was 5 or higher, you would add 1 to the place being rounded. But if it's not, if it's 4 or less, you add 0 to the place being rounded. So we're going to add 0 to the place being rounded, and then you're going to change the digits to the right of the place being rounded to zeros. We do the math. The answer is 25.33. Now some students ask me, is 25.3300 the same as 25.33? Yes, they're mathematically the same. So in Canvas, if the answer was 25.33, you could put either 25.3300 or 25.33. It doesn't matter how many zeros you enter to the right of a decimal. So in effect, this question is asking, is 25.3333 closer to 25.33 or 25.34, and it's closer to 25.33. Next, we're going to round 94.6481 to the nearest hundred. Now this one's trickier. So which place value is the 100? Well, that's before the 9. So we're rounding to an empty digit or empty column or empty place value. But we can still figure out the solution by following the rules. So what we do is we look to the digit to the right of the place being rounded, which is the 9. And the rule is, if that 9 is 5 or higher, you add 1 to the rounded place. So we're going to add 1 to the rounded place, and we have to keep the decimal in the same place, so in effect we're adding 100. And then the last rule is always change the digits to the right of the place being rounded to zeros. So we're going to get rid of those. We have to turn those to zeros. We do the math, and the answer is 100. You can enter into Canvas the answer of 100.0000 if you want, or 100. Now this is not a homework problem, so you don't have to enter 100 into Canvas. This is just practice, of course. So in effect, this question is asking, is 94.6481 closer to 0 or 100? When you ask it like that, it's easy to solve. It's way closer to 100. Now, let's have something that's a little bit of a challenge. We're going to round 0.99 or 99 cents to the nearest tenth. So which place is the tenth? That's the first 9. So the rule is we look to the digit to the right, which is a green 9. And the rule is if that's 5 or more, you're going to add 1 to the rounded place. So we're going to add 1 to the first 9. And as always, we change the digits to the right of the place being rounded to zeros. Then we do the math. And the answer is 1. So in effect, this question is asking, is 0.99 closer to 1, or is it closer to 0.9? It's much closer to 1. Now, as of the making of this video, there's several links that can help you with practice rounding and place values. And there's lots of different other videos, or websites that you can Google if you want more practice with rounding.